Hello and welcome to day 202 in this quest for a 2000 rapid chess rating on chess.com. And I had a viewer recommend that I try some 30-minute chess games. So, this might be a little bit longer. I'll do the game and then a quick game review and some analysis afterwards. All right, so let's see what kind of opponent we get here. All right. Will we have the white pieces or the black pieces? Let's find out. All right. The only thing about these 30-minute games, if anybody's using some help cheating out there, then you can run into trouble because they can just, run you out of time. And of course they'll be picking some of the best moves. All right. Well, I've been trying this perk defense, so let's see how it plays out here. Now here the opponent is probably debating whether to capture. Then if I recapture, he can trade the queens off, and I won't be able to castle. But this usually is a decent setup. As long as I push this pawn forward to keep his knight out of my position. All right, so he's going to go ahead and do it. He's thinking, I stopped him from castling. But, if he takes, I take. We have to make sure that we play this move, pushing this pawn to keep his knight out of our position, because that could cause some problems. All right, what now? Okay, so he immediately puts pressure on that pawn. Have to be careful with that because he could move over here and attack as well. All right, so maybe I push forward attacking, and then I can bring this bishop in, but then he'll take my bishop pair. So normally you go this way, but then that could cause problems. All right, so I have to make sure I don't mess this up. I'm still learning this opening. I should be fine here, but I have to be careful because if his knight moves forward, I don't know. I think I have to develop this. Well, no, he's attacking my pawn, so I need to deal with that. The problem is how do I defend both of these? If he comes in here, well, I guess if he does that, I can always move this bishop forward, but not if I protect my pawn immediately. So, wow, what is the best way to do this? I'm really taking a lot of time. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look at this in the analysis and figure out. I'm just wasting way too much time here. Okay, so I have to protect this pawn. The problem is if I bring my knight up here, well, no, then I have to keep my king over here, or do I? What is the best way to do this? Well, I can always move the bishop up. Maybe I have to move my other. Maybe I have to move my other bishop up here. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. At least that develops. If he jumps his knight in there, I can always bring my bishop up. Okay, so now he's doing that, which is not good. Okay. So I think I have to go here, keeping his knight out of the position. Now what? Okay, so he's pinning. I need to go there. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good here. Man, yeah, I really have to take another look at that. Okay, so now, of course, we can't take with the king. We have to capture this way. And now he ends up losing his bishop pair. Our pawn is protected. So things are okay so far. Okay, he's trying to develop his bishop. What should we do? What now? Probably should just place the bishop here in the middle. So I still need to get my knight out. Or do I pin? Should I go for the pin? But then he could just break the pin with his bishop. Okay. You know, what would be best here? Okay, I think we're just going to go that way. Bring our knight up in here next. Because he could have this little threat of moving here, trying to take this. And then if my king takes, his rook could capture my bishop. Well, now we can just develop that up. So then we have a threat of jumping in here maybe. And we can bring our rooks in towards the center. But I probably have to move this pawn as well. Okay. What now? Could try and gain space here. That's usually, not a bad move to think about. All right. Maybe I should go after his bishop. All right, I'm going to go after his bishop there. So he may drop his bishop back. All right, instead he decides to go that way. So now I'm going to push my pawn. That way he can't chase my knight away. I'll just go ahead, move there. And I put that on the dark square, so his bishop won't be able to harass it. Okay. Well, now there's a threat of trying to attack there. Okay, so he could try and push forward there. Should I move this knight? Or do I just jump up here and prevent that pawn from moving? That's an option as well. All right. Let's see here. What should I do? Do I push forward and just gain more space, maybe? But he could try and double up. All right. Probably need to bring my rook into the center here. Problem is, if he pushes there, if I take, he could take, chasing my knight, and start causing problems. So maybe I just push forward, and then I can capture en passant. So I think I'll do that. All right. Well, what does that do? Well, it'll allow him to bring a knight into a better position. So, and I guess we could just push our pawn up to prevent that from happening. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Now it keeps his knights out of that square on e4. And, well, okay, so he decides to go back that way. But now we can just push this pawn forward. We'll just go there to keep his knight out of that square. Okay, so this is usually a decent idea, lining up on the king with one of your pieces, because you never know when things will open up, and then you have a discovered attack with that rook. Now I could jump forward. If I target his knight, would that do anything? If I move forward, he could try and, well, I don't know. This knight is in a pretty good spot. And I probably need to keep this pawn here in case his knight tries to jump down this way. You know, that might not be any good for me either. Wow. What should we do here? What should we do? Increase the... Well, maybe get rid of that knight. If we go there and he takes, we attack his knight. Maybe we trap it on the side of the board. But I don't know. This knight is in a pretty good spot there. Do we jump forward? I don't know. I think I probably need to get rid of that knight. So, you know, and I'm taking a lot of time here thinking, so I'm just going to go there. You know, if he captures, then I take. It'll kind of cramp his position. What could he do? He could try and reposition his knight by going there. You know, and then jump down onto that. Onto b4, and I mean, I guess I could take. All right. Okay, now I should take. If he takes, then I push this pawn forward, which will help, you know, kind of block his bishop. I think that's the way to go. And it'll prevent his knight from moving towards the center. All right, let's go ahead and do that. We'll push that pawn, blocking his pawn. Okay, so we'll go there. It blocks his bishop. We want to push forward here, attacking his knight, and it won't be able to go to the center. Although he could probably swing back this way. But at the same time, we'll be able to improve the position of our bishop. Okay. Huh. Okay. Now, do we attack his rook? Yeah, maybe that's the best thing to do. We attack his rook with our bishop. Then we centralize our rook. All right, how do we go about this? Or do we just bring our rook to the center? Maybe that would be better. Well, I don't know. This move, I think, is more forcing. So we'll go ahead and do that. Then try and get our rooks into the middle. The only thing I don't like is all these pieces that are on the light squares, the same color as his bishop. Okay. All right, let's move that to the center. And look at my time. I'm always running out of time. I think if I was a faster calculator, I'd be a better player. Okay. Well, now there's a threat of him capturing there, and this is going to cause problems. So, what now? We're almost forced to take there. All right. Well, we kind of have to capture there. Man. What can we do here? If I could put a bishop here, maybe go there, threaten an attack. If I go here, well, if I do that, his bishop is probably going to capture. If I take his pawn, here, bishop takes, he'll be aimed at this. And he's threatening to take. If I take, then his knight jumps in there. All right, maybe I ignore that and just counterattack over here. If I take, if he takes, well then I can go, oh, I can't even go there because of the knight. So maybe I have to take there. I don't know, this is not looking so good. I think I'm forced to take. All right, we'll just go ahead and capture. Huh, he takes with the pawn. So that I was not expecting. All right. Well, now we could deliver a check to his king, but does that do anything? Huh. All right. Well, what now? What now? Hmm. All right. If I deliver a check to the king, does that get me anything? And then I have to watch out for this. My light squared pawn, which could be an issue. Does that do anything if I check his king? And then I don't think I have a good follow-up. He has to go into the corner, because otherwise I could snatch his pawn. But then if I do that, he could attack my bishop, then grab this pawn. All right, what can we do? What can we do? Drop my bishop back, maybe? Because he's probably going to attack it anyway. Maybe threaten to come out or down and over this way. Pile up on that, but he's already got two defenders. So and here I am once again, just running out of time because I'm not sure which way to go. This guy is just playing good defense. I don't know what to do. And I've got broken pawns over here that are doubled. I have a bishop pair. How can I use that to my advantage? Maybe I go here. No. Man. All right. Well, I'm going to drop back that way because I'm just burning up way too much time. So I'm going to try and swing back over here. And then what? Something else I might have to watch. Okay, so now he's attacking that. Well, I guess I can still go there. All right. Now he's probably going to move right in there. Maybe force me to double my, well, take one of my bishops. Yeah, of course. Okay. Would it matter if I delivered a check? No, I don't think that does anything, but man, my pawns are going to be doubled all over the place. Not good. I usually don't want to give up your bishop pair if you don't have to. I mean, I could just drop back. Man, this is awful. My pawns are just pretty terrible. They're about to be all doubled up. I don't really want to go there. I mean, I guess I could drop back and defend that pawn, but then that'll be a pretty passive bishop compared to his. So I guess I'm going to do that. Now what? He could decide to push this pawn forward. That's another option. Okay, no, he just doubles up my pawns. Now oh my gosh, what an awful pawn structure. I guess the only good thing about that, it really, they control a lot of squares, but I don't know, it's not so great. All right, what can I do in this mess? All right, I could press forward, perhaps. Well, probably should put this bishop on an open line, target his knight. I guess I'll go there, target the knight. Yeah, this is looking awful. Man, this is like horrible. My pawns are just really destroyed here. Okay, I could try and double my rooks up, maybe. What would be the best way to do that? All right, what now? What now? Well, now he can just push this pawn forward, improve the position of his knight. Is there any way to get a draw out of this? If I traded off the rooks and if I take, he's going to double his rooks. I'm going to have to capture. He's going to capture with another rook. So, something like this. He'll probably go there. Then if I take, he takes. he won't be able to make progress. Well, maybe I could swing over to the other side, but then he would just be able to guard against that. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of just going for a draw here, but I don't even know if that's possible. All right, if I take, he takes with his rook. I knock out one of his rooks, who end up with a rook on d2. What if we knock all the rooks off the board, but then my king is going to be way back here. He could push forward. Man. All right. Should I try? Well, I don't know. This knight could be a problem. Probably need to knock that knight out of there. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Get the knight out of there. I'm going to have to take one of those rooks. Because I can't let him have doubled rooks. If I go that way, now what? The problem is my horrible structure here. Okay, if he starts trying to push forward, all right, what now? What now? This is not what you want with all these terrible pawns like this. If he pushes this one forward, I mean, I could capture en passant, but then he'll have this passed pawn over here. At least my rook's covering that. He could just move forward and attack. All right. Do I just move over here? We'll just go there, I guess. Keep pressure on that pawn. Wow. Okay. Huh. All right, now what? I'm really kind of, I don't know, in some trouble here. I probably need to keep his king from making progress onto that side of the board. I'm just going to end up running out of time here. That's the only thing I don't like. It's like I have all the time pressure against me, and he doesn't have any time pressure against him. Okay, I guess I could push forward here. So he's just going to try and run me out of time, I think. All right, what now? Do I push this pawn forward or do I just back up? Hmm. All right, now what do we do? What do we do? Do we capture and pull his king back? Or do we push forward here? This is not good here. Hey, I'm just going to end up running out of time, it looks like. So I may have to go back to the 15-minute games because at least the other player, they end up having time pressure as well. Okay, should I try and swing back over here? Well, I don't know. Maybe I should go that way. But yeah, I'm just going to run out of time. There's like definitely not enough time here. I mean, now all my opponent has to do is just let me run out of time. This is just awful. At least with the increments, you don't have the danger of running out of time like that. So, okay. Well, now I can just do that. And swing over to the other side of the board. Well, at least I have the opposition. Man, there's just too many moves left. And he's just going to run me out of time, I think. I'll probably have to stick with the 15-minute games. Otherwise, I'm just going to have more of these games where I just run out of time and have no increments. Oh, come on. Man, I don't know. I could have even been in the lead a little bit there at the end. Let's see. Man, I hate losing on time like that, but the game got complicated earlier, and I guess I don't know the opening well enough. Yeah, it looks like I was actually winning there at the end. uh, so I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to stick with the increment because otherwise, I'm just gonna run out of time every game, especially when it's complicated like this. All right, it says they played at 2250. I played at 2150. So that's probably going to be the last 30-minute game I play if I'm just going to run out of time in every one of them. I mean, at least if I run out of time in the other ones, I still had increments. Here, it's like once your time gets down low, you're just stuck losing on time. Even if I'm winning like that, which. All right. What bad moves did we have? We both had 6 inaccuracies, 2 mistakes, and 2 misses each, and 3 great moves each. So, I don't know. It was like a really even game, and it looks like I would have been winning there at the end. So, we'll take a look at that. I mean, I guess I could run through this quick game review where it blasts through the moves real quick like this. All right. So here, I wasn't sure what the best move was. Oh, they're saying I should have developed the knight up to c3, which I wasn't really. I kind of glanced at that, but I didn't think that was the best move. All right, so it did not like that move. I should have left that knight where it was and dropped the bishop back, apparently. All right, so Oh, wow. So that wasn't the best way to go. I should have dropped back in the other. Oh, wait. Sorry. I'm saying I won. It looks like white was winning at the end. Huh. Okay. Yeah, white was winning. What I guess I was looking at this wrong. So I should have backed up because maybe they could have gotten a passed pawn there that would have caused me trouble. Well, let's take a look at it. Put some analysis on here. All right, from the beginning. So d4, queen's pawn opening. We respond with d6. Now it's an English opening. It transposes to that after they play c4. Now the old Indian defense. So after this, old Indian defense, Ukrainian variation. So it's interesting how there's a lot of transpositions in this opening. All right. So this is where I wasn't sure what the best move was. Apparently it would have been best to just play knight up to c6 here to defend that pawn. So that's an inaccuracy, because now they could play c5, which I was wondering if they would do that in the game. And then I take that flank pawn, they'd be able to take the center pawn. So, that could lead to problems for me. So instead, they play an inaccuracy. And apparently, knight to d7 would have been the better move. Yeah, so I just misplayed all this. Let's see what I should have done here. Knight to c6 would have been the best move. And then after bishop to g5, bishop to e6, targeting their unprotected pawn. Knight to d5 is their best move. Knight to d5. Oh, wait, that's e4. What am I looking at? Knight to d5. Oh, they go there. Okay. Because I'm attacking that pawn. And then h6, putting the question to the bishop. Now what? They could take. Yeah, or bishop to h4, and then I should check with my bishop. So take. I don't know. Here they can grab an extra pawn. Oh, if they do, then I grab the c pawn. All right. So in the game, what did we have? We had bishop to d6 here. Instead of that move, they should have attacked. And then I take, they take. Now they're threatening a fork, so I would have to play that move. Knight to d3, targeting the bishop. Bishop to d6. e4, threatening a fork on the next move. So apparently that is recommended. And then f3. All right, so I guess the game could have gone that way, but instead we have this. Okay, they don't like that. a3 apparently is a better move. Maybe with some kind of threat of going here, a3, then they push and trying to drive my bishop back, maybe. Or to prevent me from pinning, maybe I could have tried to pin the knight. Yeah, they're saying that would have been a better move. Bishop to b4. And once again, bishop to b4 would have been a better move. Okay. So that is a mistake. I think that might have been the first mistake of the game. They like b3 better. All right, b3. And then apparently I should have played h5 next. But instead we have the a3 mistake move. And now a4 is best. So their knight repositions, and here I found the best move, f5. The knight jumps forward, and then what? Bishop to c7 would have been better. Apparently that move is okay, but oh, they also like rook at h to g8, just lining up on the king. So that's an inaccuracy. Rook to c1 would have been better. and a mistake here. So better would have been bishop to c7. Maybe with an idea of moving over here, pinning that knight to the rook. Also, it would open up the d file. I mean, I guess I could fight for the d file with my rooks. We had knight to e4. And then this is a missed opportunity. Apparently, they should have captured. So if they take and I take, black would still be ahead here. They have knight to d2, f5 to protect the pawn, and knight to b1, maybe with the idea of jumping here, keeping an eye on that pawn. All right, in the game we had rook to c1. We exchanged the knights after the recapture to prevent their pawns from being doubled. Now that's an inaccuracy. Rook at h to d8 would have been better. So guess I should have started fighting for the open d file. Okay, so this wasn't good up here. They had a mistake. Wow, here they should have played f4. And then instead of capturing, I should have played f4. Huh. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. If I played f4, they recommend capturing with what? The pawn? Looks like black would be in the lead no matter what here. E takes f4. E takes f3. Knight takes. Bishop takes f4 is only the third best move. Apparently bishop to f5 is even better. Attacking the rook. And then if they do that, I take, they take, and then rook takes f4. Wow. Huh. Well, that's pretty interesting. Okay. What happened in the game? We had this. Oh man, f4 would have really helped me out there, I guess. So that was the best move by quite a bit. And then their best response would be to capture. I capture. Then, oh, then they recommend the king just gives up that pawn. Huh. All right, no matter what they do, it looks like I should play f5 next. Huh. Okay, let's see what happened here. Man, I end up with all these horrible pawns doubled up all over the place. So that was an inaccuracy. It looks like rook to g8 would have been better. So if I played that instead, what now? Rook to f1 is the best way to go. Oh wow, anything else and they would be in a lot of trouble here. King to f2. Rook at a to d8. Huh. Yeah, only rook to f1 works. And then if I check with my rook on g2, they block with the rook. We exchange off rooks. Huh. All right. anyway, in the game, we start trading down, and they don't like that. King to e6 would have been a better move, apparently. Okay, what should I have played there? h5. All right, not the best. Looks like rook to b8 would have been a better move. Huh. Rook to b8. But I would be worried that their rook would be able to infiltrate. How can that be a good move? So here, rook to b8 is what they recommend. And then after rook to g7, oh, I would be able to take over here and we each start taking. Okay. Huh. Okay. So we have this, capture, capture. Now what? That is best. Huh, so here I should have played king to d7. Why would that be any good? Huh. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, they're saying king to d7 is the best move to go there. E takes f4. Or sorry, wait a minute. Was that the right one? Hold on. E4. So they're saying E4. But if they go there, now they're saying that's best. And I take. Yeah, that seems awful because. Well, I guess he can't push these pawns, can he? If he pushes one, then I push, and then I have a passed pawn. Huh. Yeah, these pawn endings are really tricky. So I try to maneuver in there. Okay, now apparently king to f6 would have been better. What? Then he would get a passed pawn, but then there'd be no way to guard that. Okay, okay. We end up with this. Let's get to the final position where I went wrong. Huh, did not like that. King to d6 would have been better apparently, but it looks like I would slowly get squeezed if I did that. Now king to d6. Huh, so that's a game-losing mistake right there. Because of what? b3? A takes b3, king to c3, then what the heck? I would think I would have to move down and stop these pawns, but then he's going to have that passed pawn that's going to give me all kinds of trouble. Okay, he captures. If I try to go this way, they recommend moving back there. But then that's not so good because while I'm trying to stop this pawn, he would be able to move over here and pick my pawns off. So what should I have done? King to d6. So instead of going there, I had to go king to e6 or d6. And if he goes king to c3, I play king up to c7. Anyway, the time trouble got me, and I guess I'll wrap this up here. So I don't know. I'm probably just going to have to stick with the 15-minute games. The videos are shorter and I get the increment. If I'm just going to run out of time in 30-minute games, then, I might as well run out of time in the 15-minute games. I think I have more of a chance of gaining time back in the end game with the increment. All right. Well, as always, feel free to leave comments, like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching and have a super chess day.